But yeah, thanks so much for being here, guys. Thanks so much for all you do. About me, I'm Ryan Franson. I teach at Bountiful High School. I am the business and IT teacher there. So I teach computer science, coding, and I'm kickstarting the state's first pilot AI course next year, teaching kids how to make and build their own AI models. I'm also an educational AI subject matter expert for a company called SkillsTruck. That's a Utah local company that does coding curriculum, but also AI tools for teachers and students. And then I run my own company on the side as an AI consultant, making tools for businesses, but also I'm working currently on a SPED toolbox of AI tools specifically built for teachers, that made by teachers, not some programmer that hasn't been in school in forever. But the biggest thing for me is when I was in college at BYU, I spent over 7 years working with kids with special needs. If anyone here remembers Clear Horizons Academy, it's not there anymore, but it's over on Redwood Road. And then the Utah Autism Academy bought it out. I worked there forever. I was a para. I was the only guy in the building. And as you can see, I'm quite big. So I was given all the really, really fun, big, nonverbal kids. And I've been, I've been through it all, right? It's 100% good time. And then one of my last years there, I actually spent a whole entire year working with a very special student to me. His name was Ben, and Ben was deaf and blind. And we spent a year working together, and it was hard. I've been there. I know kids just can't communicate, not feeling great, having a really hard time, maybe biting me a lot, maybe scratching me a lot, but just wanting to help that kid so much, and just the lack of resources, I could make the perfect lesson. I could make the perfect everything, but also I have to sleep at some point, right? I can't do everything I want. My wife works in Davis School District. She's a superhero school psychologist. So we both worked in the SPED field forever, and that's kind of how we got dating and knowing each other. And then we have two little girls, a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. But to start things off today, I just want to say thanks, guys. Like I said, I worked with this population, and I know how hard it is, how underfunded you are, how teachers don't understand, right? Let's just drop something on your lap. Class starts in 5 minutes, but here's all my lesson plans that you guys need to differentiate and do it now. And it's not my fault it's not happening, right? Or the teachers that don't do their accommodations or their modifications or don't do all the things that they're supposed to do. So from the bottom of my heart as a teacher, I just want to say thank you. And hopefully today we can help you out. So I got some questions for you guys to start off. Take a deep breath. These might be a little triggering. How much time do you spend making visual materials or other custom resources for your students? Let's say in a week. How much time? As much time as I have. Who needs sleep, right? That's just work, right? And that's the double-edged sword of education, right? You love the kids, you want to give them your best, but you don't have all the time in the world. How are you currently differentiating assignments for your students? Teacher comes in and says, hey, here's all the work for the week. Here's our lesson plans. Make it work. What do you guys do?
We're different. We're not like resource teachers.
Yeah.
So we're special ed, but
you have to
work one-on-one with the student.
Oh, great.
Versus like.
Okay, so more of like pull-outs and stuff like that, and doing something like that.
Yeah, sorry.
That's so good for me. I went in this a little bit blind, so I'm trying to help out.
So academically, we're working on like their communication skills, process, them advocating for themselves, those kinds of things. Versus like just purely active.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Love it. Thank you for helping me. Okay, but real question is, how much outside of contract hours are you guys doing?
A lot.
Yeah. Right? It becomes your life, right? When I was in college working in SPED, I think I got broken up with 3 times by girls that, why are you always working? And I'm like, the kids need it, right? It's the gig. So today, also, is this sustainable? And once again, this is where education kind of lets you guys down, right? Whether you're doing academics or working one-on-one with kids, trying to create the materials, every kid is different, right? You gotta help them out best you can. So I'll say it right now, as we've already found, I'm not a deaf and hard of hearing expert. You guys are. So today, I just want to be your efficiency consultant. How can I save you guys as much time as possible? And I want to start by telling you guys my journey with AI. I've taught for 10 years. Before that, I worked in residential treatment, worked in SPED, did a lot. And when AI came out, I had a moment like most teachers where I was like, it's the end of the world. education's a joke. Everyone's going to be on AI, that they're not going to think, they're just going to have it do all their work for them. They're going to cheat, right? Who knows a teacher that feels that way, right? A little bit tinfoil hat conspiracy, it gets wild. And then my next thought was like, well, if the kids can cheat, can't I? And so I started using AI, and I had one driving purpose. I want to go home on time. And when I'm home, I want to be home with my kids. So I started using AI like crazy and trying to see all the things that I could do to make my life easier and to save myself time. And I'm not exaggerating that within 3 months, I cut my workload in half. I was going home on time. I was in class. I remember very distinctly, I had a kid in my class. His name is Isaac. He usually has an aide in there with him. I teach computer science. It's pretty high-end topic. And Isaac needed that aide. And one day the SPED teacher called down and said, hey, I am so sorry. The aide had a dentist appointment. None of us can come down. Just have Isaac to sit there and play games or something. And I'm sitting there like, for the first time in my educational career, I can say this. I got the time. So I got to sit down with Isaac for an hour and help him work through some stuff. That had never happened in education before, because there's always all the nonsense, all the tasks, all the things that we don't really want to do. And I had time for that. And that's when I really started getting into AI and thinking, how can I save myself time? And that became, how can I save my friends time at my school? And then the district found out, and then I started training my district, and then the state found out, and I started training the state, and then some companies found out, and here I am. But my number one goal is, how can we get your time back? How can we help find that balance? How can we help you with whatever you need? And like I said, I've had a lot of success with AI. So let's talk real quick about some things that we can do. But please, like I said, I don't understand your workflows as much as I'd like. I don't understand the day-to-day as much. So I put together a bunch of ideas, but if you guys have other questions or something else that you like, hey, how would I do this? Let me know. Also in today's presentation, I made this specifically. Yes, I work for Skillstruct. There's also Magic School and School AI, and that always depends like which district uses which. They all have different strengths and weaknesses. So everything I'm going to do today or show you guys today is something that you can use with any chatbot out there. ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, and these are all free level stuff. You don't have to have the advanced level on anything. Okay. All right, so the batch processing revolution. Yes, please.
Are you assuming that we even know how to do that? I literally, my kids will be like, Mom, did you plug that into AI? And I'm going to grad school and they do an AI check. And I'm like, I don't even know how you just Google that. Like, I don't even know.
Love it. That's
Is there a baseline? Because I am like below the baseline.
And that's what I'm planning for today.
Okay. I just want to let you know.
So what I find most of the time, and this is actually some pretty impressive research out there. They surveyed all the users and they went through all the chats of people using AI. 90% of ChatGPT users use it to Google things.
Yeah.
They're just asking questions. What's the capital of Minnesota? What's this? Which is great, but like, that's not what it's for. There's so much more to it. So when I do these presentations, my goal is really to show you like, beyond just getting information, we can use AI to complete tasks for us, right? There's a big worry out there, AI is going to take all of our jobs, but really AI can't do a big job well. What it does is you give it very specific tasks, very specific guidelines, and then you can start handing off those tasks that you don't want to do, like writing reports or that principal that wants you to submit lesson plans once a month that you never want to do, right? For us teachers, we do that, but what task can I take off your plate? That's really what we're shooting for. Okay, so let's get started here, and then we're going to get into a little bit more detail. But batch processing. Okay, so the idea here, and this is a fancy way of saying you can use AI to mass produce resources, differentiate activities, and make adjustments for specific use cases, right? So some quick examples. Let's say it's Monday and you have a week ahead of you, you have the lesson plans ahead of you, or you have you're doing one-on-ones with kids and I want to do all these things. I want to make a social story. I want to make some visuals. I want to work on this one specific skill with a kid. Just sit down and say, hey, create 5 days of visual vocabulary for our unit on this topic. Each day should have at least 5 words with visual descriptions. Or my wife as a school psych, she's like, hey, these are the groups I'm running this week. She has an executive functioning group. These are the struggles that they have. Give me 10 ideas of what we could do this week. But once again, this is where people they Google and they're like, oh, there's 10 ideas. And you say, okay, I like ideas 1, 3, 5, and 7, but I want a Minecraft theme. Put it all together. And it rolls with that, right? And so what we can do is start putting things together. And if you can define the problem and define what you want, you can get stuff spit out, right? So to your point over here, how do we not, if we don't know how to use AI, this is the easiest way to use AI. Imagine you have a para or an assistant or a student teacher that knows nothing. And you say, I want you to make me a blank. Like as a teacher, I'm not going to say, hey, make me a quiz, because that's not going to go well. I say, hey, make me a quiz, 20 questions, 10 are multiple choice, 10 are coding. This is the level that they're at. Like you just give it all the details it needs. And just like a student teacher will follow those details. So you just break it down. Another one, differentiation. Take the story, create 3 versions for my ASL primary students, my CI students who lip read, and my hard of hearing students with mild loss. And you can start taking the same story and have it spit out multiple different versions for whatever you want. Now, these are just very generalized examples I've got, but the more you can describe it, the better details you get. Okay, so batch processing, really at the end of the day, you can do all kinds of fun stuff. I give it assignments like, hey, I love this assignment. My kids really did well with this, or I love this. My wife makes really good visual schedules and like for groups and activities, things like that. I like this activity, but make it for this topic instead. So take the same principles and make it for that. Yes, please.
So those simple chat things you were talking about, chat GPT and what the ones. I mean, so you were saying school AI, skills, grok. Where do you type this stuff? Where do you put this stuff?
There you go.
Here we go. So here's what we do. So raise your hand if your district uses SkillsTruck.
More basic than yours?
Raise your hand if your district uses School AI. Okay, raise your hand if your district uses Magic School. Okay. Yeah, we use both. Yeah.
No idea.
So here's the deal. Don't worry about that. Okay. So School AI and Magic School, their #1 goal is to make 1,001 teacher tools. You can go on there and you see a giant list, and it's very overwhelming, right? You get on there and there's like, hey, write a quiz, tell me a joke, have a historical rap battle. They make a lot of really weird things.
Really?
They do. It's wild. SkillsTruck, if we use SkillsTruck, if we use in Davis, SkillsTruck schools, I don't trust an ed tech company to predict my every need. So SkillsTruck, we give you the power to make your own tools. So instead of historical rap battles, be like, hey, my Tuesday speech group that's talking about social skills or whatever, let's make a tool for that to help me develop what I want. But where do you guys want to go? You want to go places like this. I'm not doing those specific tools for a reason, but there are 2 big ones I would always suggest. The first one we all know about is ChatGPT. Okay, this is just an OpenAI model. Make an account, it's free. And this can handle just about anything we're going to talk about today. You can make images. You can have it lesson plan with you. It can get creative. Whenever I do this with teachers, the most shocking thing is how creative it can be. So for example, we're running a group or doing one of your one-on-ones. What's something that you would need to have made or get ideas for to have a more productive one-on-one?
I've had it write direct but friendly letters to parents.
Okay.
Teachers.
My favorite is I give it the parent email and I say, this is what I want to say. Don't let me get fired. Respond nicely, right? What else?
I'll be like, this student is working on these vocabulary words, generate 10 sentences with blanks for where these vocab words belong.
Yeah. Any other ideas?
So you can upload like copy paste text into it then.
Yeah, and PDFs and files and things like that. All kinds of stuff.
I typed in how to deal with a difficult parent and how to say it nicely.
Right?
And another thing we do is, so this is a reading level, maybe at a college level or reading level. How do we change? So AI can help us to change it to a version that a 4th grade student will be able to understand.
Yeah, you could take any reading. Let's say the teacher assigns like a reading, and you could have it break it down to, hey, make this a Lexile score of, forgetting my Lexile scores right now, make it 3rd grade level, 4th grade level. At our school for our, what's the DHH class? Is that the EE class? No, the other one. Oh, no. Yeah, special ed. I can't remember, but they're the low kids. So they wanted like, hey, their classmates are reading Hamlet right now. So we took it and we had it break Hamlet down into a picture book. And we gave prompts for the kids to write. So the Hamlet was broken down into a series of sentences at the kids' level, and then they could draw the pictures of the castle and the ghost and all that. And that way they could interact with it, right? But you just chat with it. So we could come here and say, hold on, let me do this while I can't talk and hold this at the same time. Okay. Let's say my students are reading Hamlet Sum up Act 1 at a 3rd grade level. And there we go. Simple summary. King has died in Denmark, his son Prince Hamlet. And there we go. And then from there, we could add on, hey, give me some visuals. Hey, let's make this into a comic strip. Hey, let's do this, that, or the other. So you just chat with it just like you would a human and just tell it what exactly you want. Okay. So the question is, though, who's played with AI and has not gone well, did not give you what you want, or it started getting weird, right? So what everything I talk about today, there's lots of examples I'm going to go through and I'll show you guys, but it comes down to this right here. Who's heard of prompt engineering?
There's a new like degree for it now.
Yeah, prompt engineering, it's a whole new skill set. It's a 21st century skill set, but prompt engineering is I want AI to do what I want, and I don't want to be dumb about it. Right? Don't wander off and don't be weird and don't say things. It's called hallucinating. Sometimes it just makes things up, right? With my students, when I teach them AI, the first thing I do is have them convince the AI that 1 + 1 = 2, and 1 + 1 = 3. And it shocks them how easy you can pull that off, right? So AI is not the end all be all, but if you can prompt it and get it to do what you want, you can do a lot. So we're going to talk about a little bit of prompt engineering today, how to get AI to do what you want. And it starts with this bullet point list here. Okay, number 1, you always want to be specific and very, very concise. Okay, AI does not like long paragraphs. My English teacher friends hate me for this, but we say, hey, make a prompt, and my friend will write 5 paragraphs. And it doesn't work. So what's the English teacher response to that? Write 5 more. So pretty soon he has a 10-paragraph prompt and it's not doing what you want. And I will email this out to everyone. I sent it to Ame, if you can help me get this out to everyone after. But I was gonna make a worksheet, but I just threw it on the slideshow. You guys have access to it. Okay, so AI likes bullet points. So when you're writing these prompts, don't write a big long thing. Break it down step by step, bullet point by bullet point. AI loves linear thinking, not trying to pick through paragraphs and see what you really mean, right? It's not, reading The Great Gatsby in high school and trying to find the meaning of everything. It just wants, give me a bullet point list of the prompts. Okay. The big one too, for people who are beginning in this is, remember this is a conversation. Okay. Go back and forth with it. You can give it feedback and say, I do not like that. That was awful. Try harder. Okay. Once again, the people who use as Google, they just do like a one-off and they don't even realize that you can keep going back and forth and making things, right? But this is where a lot of people using AI for the first time fall apart. I'm not going to get into technical details, but basically AI has memory. And once it reaches the end of its allotted memory, the first thing it does is it forgets its instructions. Ouch. For those at home, she said, was it created by a husband? Yeah, probably.
Yes.
Right? So the idea is this. We have a window of how much it can remember. And when it reaches the end of that window, it immediately starts forgetting other things. And that's when it gets weird. So if you ever find your conversation not being as focused, not doing what you asked it to, start a new conversation. I'll show you that in just a second. Okay.
This is very intriguing. This is like blowing my mind.
Just listen for a bit and then it'll show us.
Yeah. Just want to make sure, try and hit everyone. All right. So if the conversation goes too long, so once again, you have all these options online. This is ChatGPT. This is like the Band-Aid. Everyone calls it ChatGPT, but it's the first one out there. But there's different ones. Claude is another one. And all of these have a free level.
Do you have a preference
Depends on the task. Each of these has different skill sets.
in it's the end of the day, your presentation, is there a slide that says which one you prefer for each
Yeah.
one?
So honestly, for most lower level things, it does not matter. Claude is really good at coding and really good at analysis, which you guys probably don't need, right? That said, I have given Claude like reams and reams of feedback from teachers and parents, and then I had it summarize it for me, and it was a really nice summary, right? I gave it probably like 100 pages worth of feedback, and it summarized it and wrote it all up for me and broke it all down for me. That's great. But each of them on the baseline all do the same thing. There's also Grok, which is made by Twitter or X. There is Gemini, which is built into Google. So if you're a Google school, it's built into everything. There's Copilot, which is built into Microsoft products. And Copilot can make documents for you, make PowerPoints for you, make all kinds of stuff. And once again, all you're doing is describing exactly what you want, just like you would to a student teacher. Okay. So you just jump on here and then just give you guys a little tour over here. You have all the chats that you've ever had, all kinds of cool stuff. But then also you can have it write different things and ask it questions. But the other thing you can do is Like, let's say we're reading Hamlet in class, or we're doing something and we want our kids to, all these Zoom buttons are in the way. We could.
Question,
Yes, please.
Adam, are there certain AI apps that we're allowed to use at work and ones that we're not, or you know what I mean, that are approved?
I think most of these are approved. The ones that our school pays for is School AI. We have Chat GTP. We have Gemini is built into our Google suites, and I use Gemini all the time. Yeah, and then it's in Canva as well. Right?
Yeah, so here's the deal. We are currently living through the snake oil salesman era of AI. Who's been to an educational conference in the last 2 years and everything was AI, right? AI this, AI that, AI that. What's happening is, what you have to watch out for is when you're doing student stuff. If you're putting in student information, if you're putting in student work, that's where you have to be very, very careful with data privacy. Okay? All the big companies, Microsoft, Google, Anthropic, who makes Claude, OpenAI, none of these companies will sign a data privacy agreement with the state or with the district. So that means if you're putting in your kid's IEP information, you are breaking the law. So you got to be very, very careful. You got to remove any PII. You got to make sure that you're being careful. But also, you go to these educational conferences, it's my job to check on these things. Almost half of them don't fulfill basic district guidelines for data privacy. So you always got to double check everything. But if you're just a teacher generating worksheets and stuff like that, you're fine. But if you're putting in your kids' IEP goals with their name and identifiers, that's a problem.
And that's what we've instructed our teachers to do. If they can use it to generate IEP goals or ask questions to it, just don't put in the student's name or age. And
yeah, no descriptors, right? And it gets even crazier, as I've been lovingly warned by my district multiple times. The way the law is written now, FERPA, includes student work product. So a lot of teachers will give it their kids essays with no identifiers and say, hey, help me grade this. But according to FERPA, as it's written right now, a student's written work, even code, is the same as personal information, which is outdated and dumb, but that's how the districts choose to interpret it, and that's what we have to follow. Yeah, so that's why we have School AI, that's why we have Magic School and SkillStrut, because they basically put a privacy wall around it and make sure that it's all safe. Okay, so this once again here, but give you as an example real quick. So yeah, we just summed up Hamlet Act 1 at a 3rd grade level. As we go down, I said, hey, make me a guided notes worksheet. Maybe just kids in class, or maybe we're trying to work one-on-one and help them understand what's going on. And it will actually make all this stuff for you. So you can have it do worksheets, and have it make rubrics. You can have it take notes. You can have it do all kinds of great stuff for you to help out. Okay. So once again, it's just a chat. Just like back in the day when we had MSN or AIM or anything like that, you just talk to it and ask it exactly what you want. But these principles here are the best one. Once again, we're going to email this out to everyone, so you guys will have it. But the ideal prompt framework is, if you're doing something pretty complicated, you want to follow this. Once again, raise your hand if you ever had AI get weird on you, that didn't work the way you wanted. So this is the fix, okay? Number 1, and honestly, when I write my prompts, I just go 1, role, and I give it its job. 2, goal, and I give it its goal. So what we found is whenever you use AI, the first thing to do is give it a job. If you don't just say, give me stock tips, you say, you're a Goldman Sachs analyst, or you're an investing teacher. You say, you are a deaf and hard of hearing teacher. You're a school psychologist. When it knows the job it's trying to do, it stays put. It doesn't wander off into unknown paths and get weird on you. So that helps. Number 2, always clearly outline what success looks like. What's the goal that we're shooting for? We are making IEP summary reports. We are writing IEP goals. We are doing X, Y, or Z. When it knows exactly what the end result's going to be, once again, that anchors it and doesn't get off into weird places. Context is probably the most important one, okay? AI has all the internet, not all the internet, but most of the internet in its database, and that's what it builds from. It's pretty great, but actually also pretty awful. If you guys ever want a really good time, I won't do it here because it can get inappropriate, but look up Google AI summary fails. Has anyone seen those?
no, but that sounds funny.
So Google, nowadays, if you Google something, it has an AI summary at the top where it summarizes the answer from websites. There's been instances where people say, hey, is it good to eat rocks? And it's like, oh yeah, most geologists agree 5 or 6 rocks a day will keep you really healthy. One person typed in, I made homemade pizza and the cheese keeps sliding off my pizza. And it said, easy fix, mix up some non-toxic glue into the sauce, your cheese will never fall off. And that's funny stuff. And then it was like, one lady was like, can I smoke when I'm pregnant? And it's like, yeah, most doctors will agree 5 or 6 packs a day when you're pregnant, get you a healthy baby. So once again, context matters, right? Why does Google AI do that? Well, the 6 months before that, Google spent $40 billion buying all of Reddit's data. And they used Reddit to train their AI model. So the problem is this, AI has everything. But what you have to do when using AI is you kind of got to draw a box and say, these are the boundaries. These are the guardrails. Don't go beyond here. So if I'm saying, hey, make me a test on the Revolutionary War, does it look different if I'm teaching elementary school versus AP US history versus a college class versus a college class in a different country? So all we're doing with context when you describe it is describe what age group, what age level. Do you have any rules built in place? Do you have anything that you want to like, hey, only pull information from here, or don't do anything controversial, or please don't get me fired because these parents are crazy, right? But if you do these 3 things, role, goal, context, and once again, this bullet point list, your role is to be a SPED teacher. Your goal is to write IEP goals. Context, you're writing IEP goals for 3rd graders in Utah, and even give it, these are examples of good IEP goals, or this is the framework our district wants to follow, right? Because let's be honest, how many of you have faced a really badly written IEP goal? All the time. I have one right now. Kid can leave class 20 minutes for a 20-minute break 3 times a class period. We have 80-minute classes.
That's the whole class.
And you can take your friend with them too, if you read a certain way, right? So we get these bad ones. So does the internet have IEP goals that I can use as an example? But what are the goals that you follow? What's the framework you follow? So then you can put that in there. So if you guys follow these 4 steps, your outputs will be a lot better, and it'll get a lot more successful experience for you. But the important thing, guys, is you don't need perfect prompts. There's whole entire college degrees now on prompt writing, and there's classes and courses you can take. But really, if you just get 20% better, if you put forth just a little bit more effort, and I'll show you guys, if you guys ever want student prompts, are hilarious. They misspell everything. They're just like, summarize what? They never say, right? But if you just take the effort to be 20% better, your results will be significantly improved. You won't get the drifting. You won't get the weird stuff. So example prompt. Let's say you're a teacher of the deaf, creating visual vocabulary for a student. Create week 1 vocabulary for water cycle unit. So we're going to say, hey, 5 words per day. The student is in 5th grade, deaf, reads at 3rd grade level. For each word, include a simple definition, what to draw or show, and a real object to use. Start with Monday's 5 words. Okay, sorry, I tried to break that up. So you could take a prompt like this, and I'll just copy and paste this. And once again, this is an example that I had AI help me write up. And then you could go to any of these tools. Let's say ChatGPT. I'm going to start a new chat, and I'm just going to drop all that in. Oh. There we go. And it starts putting stuff together for me. Okay. Teacher drops something on you that you don't understand, or like I had a friend last night, she's like, my husband's out of town and I'm supposed to talk about the surface area of a cone. I have no idea. It's like, throw it in ChatGPT. It'll walk you through it step by step. Yes, please, in the back.
So if you go into ChatGPT, can you just list it like that? Like you had it formatted out in the bullet points?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can just go in and return it or whatever.
Yeah, here's a pro tip. Write this one down. If you hit enter, it sends the chat.
Yes, right.
Shift enter. And it's not just in ChatGPT, it's in Teams, it's on anything. Any program that has a chat feature, shift enter lets you go down without sending anything.
Thank you.
There you go. See, that's why we do this, right?
Also, it gives you what you don't want to refine it to.
Mhm. Yeah, and we get here and say, hey, I don't love this, or hey, I don't like number 2. Give me a better definition of that. Let's break it down, right? But now we can have visuals. But let's say you're like me and not an artist, right? We could come here and say, hey, give me, so I'm typing one-handed here, instructions on how to draw the water cycle. Right? Maybe you want to visualize it for a kid. Maybe you want to make something more clear. The water cycle, you can put in whatever you want there, but we come here and here's the instructions on how to draw the water cycle. Now, who here is not an artist. Aggressively not an artist.
Me.
Okay, so we have this, and once again, there's all kinds of AI tools online. I could come here to ChatGPT and just say, draw this.
Yeah, can't you just have it make the visual for you?
And I click draw this, and it will draw it for me. But I have actually hit my drawing limit for the day.
Oh.
But look at this other stuff I had to draw. Visual schedule, a PEX icon for picture exchange system.
Audiology pictures back there.
Audiology, right?
And
But
this is just regular ChatGPT.
this is just regular ChatGPT. The only thing they do is they put a throttle on you. So I made 10 images a day, so I'm done until like 8 o'clock. But $20 a month is for the paid versions, and that gets rid of those limits. And
So does that, oh,
please, yes.
sorry. So does that mean that on our resumes, we can basically list that we can do practically anything because ChatGPT says we can?
Yeah. I give you permission as the authority on the, no, that's kidding. But here, I took that exact same description.
Recorded.
This is Microsoft Bing. If you just type in Bing images, as long as you have a Microsoft account, which you can make for free, Bing will make images for you. So if there's a visual that you want to make for your students, or there's something that you want to draw to help visualize a concept, Bing is an example of that. But Magic School has an image builder. Chat for Schools, which is Skillstruct's one, has an image generator. There's tons of these out there. But once again, stick with the big ones, ChatGPT, Claude, things like that. Don't get stuck in, what was that?
Spell that.
Claude, like the French name, like Claude Chirac, the old French president, right? Jean-Claude Van Damme, even better example, right? The muscles from Brussels, right? So there's lots of ones. ChatGPT draws. Claude does draw, but it actually does it in the funniest way possible. Claude draws using code. So it draws using like circles and squares. So it's pretty simplistic. So for example, I had to make a visual schedule for a morning for a kid. And this is it. Hang backpack, wash hands. It took me a while to figure out what that was. Those aren't lungs or anything else you're thinking. Those are two hands that don't have fingers. They're mittens. Eat breakfast. So once again, strengths and weaknesses. Claude uses code to draw, so it's very like blocky, and it's using shapes to draw. It's not drawing. But ChatGPT, I did the exact same thing, and it did that for me. And I could put that together. My wife makes visual schedules left, right, and center. Very, very useful for her. But also, if you're trying to visualize something for a kid, you could just, hey, give me the instructions for how to draw this, and then drop it in Bing or drop it in ChatGPT, and we'll draw it for you. And you don't have to worry about your art skills ever again. And then I remember when I worked in SPED, we did picture exchange, PEX, right? And there's always the kids with the most random interests. Like this kid loves Minecraft. Make a PEX icon. We had an iPad with the PEX system on it, and finding those images was really hard. But now I just said, hey, make me a PEX image of a Capri Sun. You can grab whatever. I had to make one for sweet tart ropes, and it made something passable, right? So sky's the limit. All you have to do is be descriptive, right? You can also say, make this photorealistic, and it would make it photorealistic. So I always just say, hey, make it cartoony. I even said, draw it in the way like a PEX picture exchange system would work. But I can see some people in the back are having some fun making some images back there. Is that what we're laughing about?
She can't share what images she's making.
That's cute.
Yeah. So you can customize anything on the fly for your students. Yeah.
So this was probably just because I wasn't clear enough, but like I was trying to do a picture of a family brushing their teeth. And the boy was in the sink.
Yeah.
Rather than
That happens sometimes.
next to the sink. And
Yeah.
I was like, awesome, take the boy out of the sink and put him next.
And that's
to
where the
the-
conversation happened, where you go back and forth.
And I
You
did that and I
Mhm.
did that and it ended up like, we had a full conversation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Until I ended up like, just, okay, we're just gonna have mom and dad.
No, get rid of the boy.
Brushing their teeth, yeah, it was.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. So part of the way vocab is called the stochasticity of AI. Part of the reason why AI is what it is, if we gave AI, say, hey, write this paper based on this prompt, we give it 10 times, we come up with 10 completely unique papers. Once again, that creativity is great, but sometimes that creativity means it doesn't follow instructions directly. So you have to sometimes start a new chat can help that. Sometimes it just, you gotta wrestle with it a little bit. The more you get into AI and you get prompt engineering down, the more it becomes like, you kind of figure out like the flow and how it works. And
So frustrating.
Yes.
You'll have something that is like perfect except that one thing, and you're like, can I just grab it and remove it? That's all I wanna do, because the rest of it's perfect, and you can't get it. So frustrating.
yeah.
But I think in general, we just follow the goal.
Yeah, role, goal, context, all that. One more thing that my wife Amy promised to share with you guys is you can make your own coloring pages. So I'll show you some of these. So my daughter loves unicorns, and I actually gave it some pictures of her, and I said, make it look like her. This is my daughter Ruby and her baby doll. And this looks just like my daughter Ruby, and that is her baby doll, and she loves unicorns. So I've given it pictures. That's her and her sister. You can give it family pictures. It'll cartoonify you. Or I'll say, hey, make me a picture of a unicorn in the bathtub with a rubber ducky singing a song, and it will do that. So my wife will actually, for kids' birthdays, she will make customized, from their school pictures, she'll make customized coloring sheets of them doing what they love. And then during group, they can color it. Or as a calm down, they can color it. Yeah.
Like upload their picture and say.
Yeah, how do you do
this
that?
Person, like, how do you make it look like the person?
So once again, this is where AI is not 100% our friend, but you come to this plus sign right here, and you can add photos and files like that. And this pulls straight from the computer. Yeah, I gave a bunch of pictures of my wife. And you guys can look at this. My wife's going to kill me. There's a picture of my wife. There's a picture. I gave it like as many as I could. And then, does that look like her? Yeah. And then this is my girl. And I said, hey, that's my girl's. That's not the baby. This is the baby that my daughter loves. And there's that baby that my daughter loves. Yeah. But also, she's sitting on air.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is. And that just happens. That's where we are with AI right now. It's getting better every day, but it's not perfect. But yeah, baking a birthday cake with her baby. My daughters love this. Before we go on big trips, I just make a bunch of coloring pages, whatever they want. All right. Yeah, Ame, please.
Question, so how do you upload the pictures? Is there a place that you can upload?
Yeah, you just come over here and there's a download option, or you can right click and save image as.
So I have a question.
Please.
So is uploading pictures of our students against FERPA or whatever? Because it's technically giving, I don't know.
Depends on the tool, but yeah, my wife uses one that's behind the secret wall that the district has approved. But,
Can she hook this up or?
Your district, talk to your district, because yeah, those ones are the paid versions, but you can figure it out.
Adam is our district.
Or yeah, we take it. What I did once is I just had to take a picture of I went to ChatGPT and gave it on my own account, and I said, describe this to my daughter, and then I'd use a description to have it draw it. It kind of worked, didn't it? But stuff you can play with. Let's get going on. Other things we can do with AI. So optimize results with that. There's an example. The other thing you can do, and this is where I think as a team, you guys can work together, is the done for you prompts. Once you play with AI quite a bit, you realize that you can use one prompt and just swap out 2 or 3 words and farm out a million different things. So in the email that you guys are going to get with my awesome slideshow, I have a lot of these here for you. So for example, IEP goal progress notes with visual evidence descriptors. Parent communication in 3 languages or modes simultaneously. Sub plans that a non-signing sub could actually follow, and data collection sheets with visual behavior indicators. So for example, here is the template. You're a SPED teacher writing IEP progress notes for parents, student goal, PACE goal here, not the student's name, but just the goal. What happened this week? Describe what you observed, and then create progress summary, and then tell exactly what you want. I want 2 sentences, grade 3 reading level, 3 specific examples with visual descriptors, what we're working on next, how parents can help at home, 2 simple activities. Use positive language, focus on growth, and let it rip. And then you say, okay, next one, next kid, here's their goal, here's this, and you can just start farming these things out a lot more quickly, right? Another example here, parent communication, and same thing, like I'm a teacher, I send things home, and I know I have a kid that speaks Kinyarwanda, which is what they speak in Rwanda. I have a kid who speaks Portuguese, I have a kid who speaks Spanish. So I'll just say, hey, here's this note home, and give me a version in this language, this language, this language. Anticipate any questions parents might have. Let's go. And also I can knock that all out in 30 seconds rather than having to go on Google Translate and translate everything 10 times. Yes.
So I see there's microphone options. You can speak your prompt.
Yes.
Is there a
Or is it shift enter for voice prompts?
To turn it on?
No, to just be able to go to the next line to get a bulleted list.
I haven't played with that feature too much. Usually I just have dictate and I talk to it and it says whatever I want
Narrative
it.
is okay.
Yeah, narrative. And then maybe just with your keyboard play with it. But honestly, anything's better than nothing. So you just try. Let's see what this did when it listened to me talk. Yeah, so it did that. And then also with these, you can also have it read out loud to you as well, which is pretty nice. So in the email, I put all these templates on there for you guys. Once again, why reinvent the wheel? And this is where PLCs are starting to happen. In my building, for example, our history department, we have one guy that's gotten crazy into AI. So he comes to PLCs and he's like, hey, I have this really cool prompt. Let me share it with you guys. And you guys just swap out these things and you can farm out reading questions. You can farm out this, that, or the other. Our SPED teachers, we have some getting into it. They're like, hey, you're not doing your accommodations. You're a terrible teacher. You're breaking federal law, which we would never say to anyone, but it's true, right? So she's like, hey, here's a prompt. Next time you have that assignment, throw it through this, add it to this prompt, and boom, you can differentiate on the fly. And it doesn't take that long. Accommodate, dang it, right? Which is half our jobs, right? Emergency subplans. How can we make emergency subplans for people? Data collection sheet. My wife uses this all the time. I want to make a special sheet for this kid's specific behavior because let's face it, when teachers are collecting data, they never do it unless you make it as easy as humanly possible. And then even then they still don't do it. So it's frustrating, right? But once again, here's the prompt and you just drop in the stuff you want there. So, and 9 times out of 10, guys, I'll tell you this. I describe what I want and I say, hey, AI, write my prompt for me. And it will. And then you take that and you run it through and you're golden. Okay, 2-minute miracles. When Gen Ed teacher drops something on you at 7:45, make this friendly for deaf friendly, paste their lesson, add 3 key vocabulary words. When parent texts get confused, break it down for them. When the principal wants inclusion data, describe the activity in a bullet point and say, make this sound good. Go. And you just give it the parameters that it needs. And you can start farming things out a lot faster, saving yourself a lot of time. Okay, other ideas. Morning meeting visual, homework simplifier, quick vocab set, behavior visual support, reading leveler. Really, that's a huge one is you can give it the readings that the kids are getting and saying, break this down to this kid's level. And you can make comic books. I've done comic books of them, picture books of them. I've done 3rd grade level, 10th grade level, or I've taken a reading that's a little bit too easy for them and kicked it up a notch. Do that. Or I can give them the reading and say, hey, identify the 10 hardest vocab words in this reading and make a quick little definition sheet for them. And that can help out. Pro tips or templates, okay? Save these in the Google Doc and have them ready just to copy and paste. Share them with your team, share them with each other. What's working for you? The days of us being teachers that keep our stuff to ourselves is over, right? We've all agreed to not be that way. Let's help each other out. Adjust the reading level, change grade 3 to match your parents, add your own. What do you need daily? And remember, the first output is always a starting point. Wrestle with it. The more you get into AI, the more you learn how to use it, the more it becomes kind of like a second language and you just wrestle with it. That's why it's a college major, because we're learning more and more that it's almost like speaking a whole new language that you got to figure this out. Okay. The time math though, if you use without a template, it might take you 5 minutes to write a prompt, 20 minutes to tweak the output, get what you want. But once you get output that you like, save that prompt for next time. Or have, once again, if I get a prompt I like, say, hey, I like that. Write me a prompt that would get it that way the first time without us having to go back and forth as much. Have it make the template for you, and then you save it, and you can start adding up the time that it saves you. Like I said, I cut my work life in half. Almost felt illegal. People were asking questions because they're like, how is he saving that much time? Is he just a terrible teacher? And my test scores were great. My kids were crushing it, but we were just taking care of our business, right? The goal here is identify tasks that don't need your 100% attention. Offload those to AI so you can be working with the kids one-on-one, that you can be doing all that, right? My wife has to write Medicaid logs, things like that. Can we make a template to simplify that and then throw the kids' names in later, things like that, whatever works. Okay, creating visuals, we already talked about that. Have it describe the visual that you want, break it down for you, all kinds of good options there. But really the possibilities around this, I just had AI, hey, give me a list of all the ways that teachers of deaf and hard of hearing students could use AI to make their lives easier. And this is what AI came up with. Create your own visual dictionaries, concept breakdown charts, multimodal lesson materials, quick assessment adaptations, parent communication. I sure do love that one. My favorite, I'll tell you guys my favorite story just because we're getting boring here. I had a girl email me 2 days after the quarter, and she had been in class in 3 months, and she said, "What can I do to pass your class?" And I wanted to say there's a snowball's chance and somewhere very hot that you're going to pass this class, but I didn't because I'm nice. And I said, AI, this is what I want to say. Let's send that email back to her in a nice way, but include an inspirational quote about how she can get better at life from this experience. And it did. I laughed, her parents laughed, she cried. It was perfect. But it was like, I've had that girl 4 times in high school and I've seen her twice. And so it was like, there's no way you're passing my class, and no, we don't make deals like that. And the AI said it so nicely, and at the end it was like, and like Helen Keller once said, and it just dropped some quote on her, and it was like, okay. So free, easy combinations to work with. When I say chatbot, I mean, pick your favorite: Grok, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, any of those. Use it with Google Drawings or Bing Drawings, and it will create the drawings that you want. Chatbot plus YouTube. This is one that I use a lot as a teacher. Find me 5 videos that teach this subject in a way that's interesting to kids. And you can even say, make sure they have good automatic captions on them, or make sure it's at this level. And you can find videos that teach anything on there, and it will go and search the internet and find those videos for you. Chatbot plus Quizlet, make vocab flashcards. Chatbot plus Canva. My wife does this all the time. Canva is really cool. Canva is building in more AI stuff so you can actually tell it what you want and it'll actually design it for you. Real nice.
So do you have to be in the secondary component, or you're in your chat bot and you say search YouTube or search Google Drawings?
Yeah, I just say, hey, go online and find me 5 videos that'll be appropriate for this age level that are fun, and make sure they have automatic captions. That's actually the easiest part for it to find, because when they.
But he's asking, are you in chat?
Are you in chat
when you're doing
GTP,
that?
or
When I ask it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't have to be in Quizlet or in YouTube or.
No, but then you can take like the descriptions or like the flashcards, you can spit it out into there, and then have it make it from there. Kind of copy and paste in the Quizlet so kids can log in and use it. And then Claude has solved this problem. So has Gemini, but it's not great right now. But I'm guessing in the next 6 months, the ability to make slideshows will get a whole lot better. Slideshows, spreadsheets, documents will actually write those things for you, describe what you want, and we'll make the brochure for you, make the flyer for you, make the info sheet, permission slip, whatever you want, and then you just go through and tweak it. So once again, save you time. Power prompts, once again, make it visual in 5 words or less, describe things. My favorite is have it give me analogies. Describe this in Fortnite terms, describe this in Minecraft terms, describe this in football terms, and it will, and it describes things to you. And I've learned some pretty complicated stuff by having AI break it down for me like I'm a kindergartner. Okay, what would this look like? But like I said, guys, there's a million tools out there. I do have one bonus tool that I have found that I think will help you guys out, but this is a little bit like next level. So anyone here heard of Guide before? So Guide has a free tier, limited number of videos you can make, but I've had deaf, hard of hearing kids in my classes, and it's really hard when I'm trying to explain, like, here's how you download Visual Studio Code and get Python running. Like sometimes when they're on their computer, they're looking at the screen and trying to find the buttons, and they can't see someone signing, they can't see someone's mouth, they can't see all the things that they need. So what Guide does is you can click through any process on a computer, and it will actually, you don't have to talk. It will record all of your clicks and will automatically generate a video.
Whoa.
Showing them where to click, and it captions the video for you. So you don't have to talk. I hate hearing my voice. And on top of that, it has AI voices that will talk and read the descriptions. Okay, so let me show you guys this in action. I did this for my classes. I'm the Canvas guy at my school. For all the Canvas people out there, who uses Canvas? Anyone use Canvas? Yeah, Canvas is so much fun,
What's
right?
the difference between Canva and Canvas?
Canva is like making designs, and Canvas is a learning.
It's
That's what they do for
it's like Power
assignments.
School, or not Power
Okay.
School. We use Schoology.
Canva
or-
for
yeah,
PowerPoint.
Canva.
Okay, so I'm like, my kids use Canvas every day, but now we're thinking, I'm like.
Yeah.
They sound very, very similar, but.
Yeah,
It's like a totally different thing.
Not great marketing. So let me show you guys this. So I didn't want to take too much time on this, but for Guide, I could just see for deaf, hard of hearing, this could be huge. For parents, deaf, hard of hearing, this could be huge. But all I did here is I want to teach teachers in Canvas, how do you mark assignments as 0 and missing in Canvas, right? Usually most teachers have to go assignment by assignment and click 0 missing for 200 kids per assignment. there's actually a button hidden in Canvas that does it all for you. And no one knows about that button. So all I did is there's an extension for guide. You click record and then you click through something. Once again, you don't have to talk, you just click through it. I didn't say a word. I clicked through the entire process and I hit done and it made this video for me. So check this out.
Mark assignments is 0 and missing in Canvas. Follow these steps to efficiently manage and update student grades. Navigate to the grades section in Canvas. Find the total section and click the 3 dots for the.
Sorry, it's echoing, so I'm going to turn that part off. But yeah, you see here, I didn't do anything. It highlights, puts the arrows, tracks every click, and it guesses what you need to say for every click, and then I just had the AI voice read it. Took me less than 3 minutes. So I could think for like a computer class like mine, where we have a lot of steps and the kids looking at the screen and maybe can't look at their interpreter or they can't look at all the things they want to look at, this could make things a lot easier. But the cool part too is it does the video, but it also automatically generates one of these, a step-by-step guide, with screenshots and with everything built in. And you can narrate it yourself if you want. You can just record yourself, but if you're like me and you hate hearing your voice, they even have one with a British accent, which my kids get a kick out of. But yeah, this is a way that you could take something like a step-by-step on a computer and make it very accessible to anyone with automatic generated captions and things like that. So that's guide. I think you get 15 videos for free. And after that, you have to pay, but I've had it for a year and I've made 4. So, but if you get cruising more and more, it might be useful. But that's something I found that I thought might be cool. Okay, so I'm done talking. What questions you guys got, or what else can I show you? Yes, please.
Do you think we'll no longer have to teach kids code because AI will just code it?
Fantastic question. Important question. So what we've learned with code is that AI is wrong half the time, but how it's wrong helps you get to the right answer. But if you don't understand the core concepts, you won't get there. You won't understand what's going on. So you're always going to have to understand basic programming. Otherwise, AI takes you down the rabbit holes, and it gets pretty hilarious where my kids are like, their program's this big and it doesn't work. And I'm like, how does it work? And they have no idea, right? My friend works at Silicon Slopes and he put it really well. He's like, it's called vibe coding when you use AI to code. And he's like, we love our new interns and stuff like that, but they vibe code everything, which is fine, but they're breaking things they don't know how to fix. So the AI is off and you had AI build everything and the AI is getting weird and not answering the way you want. What do? Especially in a big complicated program that could be debilitating, right? So you're always going to have a need to do that, but coding is going to be more like Legos, where someone who has that skill set can have AI do individual tasks and then piece them together, which is kind of the theme that we're finding with AI. AI can't do jobs, it can do tasks, but there needs to be a human there to kind of connect the task into something usable, just like you guys. Any other questions?
Do you use like a notebook? LM, I've used that before.
Notebook LM is super interesting. That's actually thank you for bringing this up. Who's heard of Notebook LM? Okay, to help students out, another tool is called Notebook LM. I don't have an example of it, but Notebook LM, basically you make a folder on your computer, and let's say it's my history class. I can drop in all my readings, quizzes, assignments, notes, everything in that folder. And then AI, once again, with the context, we don't want grabbing everything from the internet. So we'll only pull information from that folder. So you can say, hey, make me some flashcards, make me a practice test, help me get ready for this. We're finding for our SPED and ELL kids, it helps a lot. Especially because there's a feature on there that I don't have an example of right now, but it will make a podcast for you.
And it's a good podcast.
Yeah. There's 2 people talking, and they're like, today we're talking about trapezoids, and they have a little talk about trapezoids. They even drop some jokes in there. And you as the listener can call in and ask questions. So sometimes I'll go like, I had a meeting the other day and I was just, read this 20-page document before you come to the meeting so we can talk about it. And I didn't. So I just had to make a podcast about that document while I drove there. And I just listened.
We use it in my university class. They told us about it. You can take an article that's 50 pages, dump it in there, and it will make you a podcast you can listen to.
What was that when we were doing our thesis?
Right? Notebook LM.
It is
Now,
the coolest thing.
It is awesome.
Is it free?
It's free, yeah.
It is free. A couple things on that one. We found a lot of success at Bountiful helping our ELL kids because you can put it in Spanish and stuff like that. But the downside is, as of now, the main Notebook LM is not data private for kids. So we got shut down in my district from using it. But this summer, Google did release Notebook LM education,
Cool.
which supposedly meets that requirement. But what we found is this is Notebook LM. Notebook LM for education is here, like quality wise. So it's not quite there yet, but that is something hopefully we get more of. But really for my students, I teach them the English teachers in my building want my head on a pike for this, but I have since day one taught my kids to use AI. And I teach them to learn anything with AI. It's your ultimate study buddy. It's your ultimate tutor. It will teach you anything. And yeah, some kids use it to do all their work for them, but other kids, like, they're leveling up so fast because it's teaching them, right? So one kid put it really well. He's like, it's like having Mr. Franson tied to my desk 24/7 without the dumb jokes. And I'm like, well, it sounds miserable to me, but whatever. But yeah, so teaching kids to use AI to learn stuff. And I found especially one anecdotal experience. My first year teaching with AI, I had a kid in my class. He was on the spectrum, pretty much nonverbal, selective mute, didn't talk much, and he struggled. And then he passed with like a D+, and then he signed up for coding too. And I'm like, you sure you want to do this, bud? And he did. And then I taught him how to use AI. And that kid took off like a rocket ship. He's interning now for companies. He's doing all this crazy stuff because AI gave him the ability to talk with someone about what he was struggling with and get help and get taught on things. And I've read his chat logs and they're fantastic. He's using it right. Okay. But I will say this is education 21st century, right? Let's imagine a line here. And this side of the line is AI did it for me. I just copy and paste the prompt in, AI writes it, I put it in Canvas and the teacher grades it. And this side is AI taught me. And the question of 2025 is how do we know the difference? How can we tell when a kid did the work themselves versus having AI do it for them? And I think us as teachers need to adjust how we teach and how we assess to tease apart that line. One example is in my school, we had our finance teacher used to have his kids write this big long paper about economic trends, stuff like that. Scrap the paper because everyone was just using AI. So he said, great, 3 things. You're gonna do a presentation in front of the class. You have to make a slideshow and you cannot read your slides. And at the end, you have to take questions from the audience. First kid gets up there and we say, use it. We told him, use AI, research. Kid gets up there, gives a perfect presentation, doesn't look at the slides, takes questions from the audience like a boss. But during his presentation, he dropped a phrase, quantitative shaving, which I've taken business classes, I've taken econ classes. I've never heard that term before in my life. So me and my friend were in the back because I was helping grade. We're like, we're going to get this kid. He cheated. Questions? What's quantitative shaving? And the kid gave us textbook definition with 3 real world examples. And we're sitting there like, excuse me, where'd you learn that? And he's like, oh, I knew you guys were going to ask about it, so I made sure AI taught it to me so I would understand. Did that kid cheat? No, he learned, right? And that's the question, right? And what we're seeing at Bountiful High, at least on my end, I know what Ame is seeing, but at Bountiful High, we're seeing a lot of our kids on SPED and stuff like that are using AI just to get the result. They just like, cool. And it's tricky because even with translations, like we're telling kids, use AI to translate. When my kids like, I speak Spanish and it was like, translate this test question in Spanish, and it did it perfectly in Spanish. And it said, oh, and by the way, the answer is B. Don't do that. So you have to be careful with AI, right? But the phrase that we say a lot at Bountiful and what we're using in my classroom a lot, this is my class motto, my kids hate hearing this, but it's what we do, is you have to learn to love the process more than the results. If a kid only wants the results, if they just want the A, they just want to jump through the hoops, they just want to graduate and they don't want to learn anything, AI is just too tempting. And it's right there, right? So we as teachers, and we're especially seeing it in SPED, is some kids with SPED, they're fighting for their life. And we have this tool here that can do everything, and they're just not doing the work, but they're getting the answers, right? And then they get exposed later on when they don't know anything. So once again, how do we make sure kids are on the right side of that line, and how do we make kids fall in love with the process of learning again? And that's the big question. I think that we're going to be answering in the next few years in education. I do a lot of cool things in my classroom to break that apart, but it's really hard. And more teachers are realizing that what we used to do doesn't work anymore. And so
I have a question.
Please.
So you said that this has helped like cut your workload in half, but do you feel like it's affected the quality of your work?
Absolutely. In the best way humanly possible. I'm a more creative teacher. And, as a teacher, we all have like, my wife is a school psych. She's like, I have this really interesting idea I want to try with my group. And it's about halfway there. give it to AI takes it the rest of the way, and I can actually try these ideas out, right? A lot of times as teachers, we call it blank screen syndrome. You sit there, I want to make this cool assignment, and you have the blank screen in front of you, and you never get it done. So with AI, I find that I get over the blank screen syndrome, because even if AI makes me something I hate, that tells me something about what I want. And then I start making tweaks and changes and stuff like that. So for me, at least, I am generating 10 times as many assignments. I'm trying things I've never tried before. I'm changing things I never would have thought I would have changed, because AI helps me get there faster in making the stuff. And then when I use it, I can actually evaluate it and see how it's going and what I want to do differently. And AI helps me do that analysis. So I would say it's changed me for a lot for the better. There are some lazy teachers out there, but most of the teachers I know that really get into it, they're like, finally, I can try some new things and I'm not stuck behind trying to write rubrics and trying to make my curriculum plan or my sequence and scoping. I can just get creating and try things out. Any other questions?
Will AI make a differentiated dinner for my family?
I have actually put in, I have this, and this in my fridge, come up with a recipe.
I have done
Not the actual.
Yeah, no,
hot dogs.
I tell it what my girls like, and I say, hey, my girls will eat this, but we want to broaden their horizons. What would be a next step? And once again, it's not perfect. It doesn't know everything, but a lot of times I just need someone to bounce ideas off of and come up with ideas out of left field, right? Like, this is super dumb, but I love crunchy, salty treats. That's like my midnight snack of choice. And I hate that. And I said, what could I do differently? And it said roasted edamame, and even showed me at Costco where it is. Has anyone tried that? It's crazy good. And I don't want to eat salty, crunchy treats anymore. I'm not eating chips. I'm eating that instead. So once again, I never would have thought of that. That wasn't even my brainwave. But when it brought some ideas up, I was like, oh, hey, that's cool. So use it as a collaboration partner for creativity, and you'd be shocked at what it comes up with and how you become more creative. All right, I'm done. But thanks, guys.
Right, yeah.